I know that if anyone can pull through this, it's her. And I even talked to her husband a couple nights ago, and he was saying to me how he was telling the doctors that, wait and see, Gabby will be up and walking in 2 weeks, and I believe him.
My first reaction was pure shock. The fact that we had just been sworn in, that there is so much hope and optimism about this Congress and the awesome responsibility that we all share.
I think we're all still trying to understand this, and I think, as was mentioned, I think how we handle this as members of Congress and how we handle the discourse is very important, because I know what was important to her. Her last race was very tough, and she personally talked to me about that, and I think it weighs on a member, but I think she wanted this place to be the tone to be less partisan.
Will any of you change the way you conduct yourself on a day-to-day basis, back in your districts, talking to constituents, putting yourself in a similar position?
You want to go out and engage and interact with your constituents. That's the nature of our government, and I think how we preserve that is going to be very important.
I had started a practice where I would at least notify local law enforcement and when I had public events. And I think that's a common sense security precaution that we should be taking, because there is a lot of anger out there.
Given that this seems to be, from what we know so far, the work of a lone deranged gunman, is now the right time to really analyze and discuss the political discourse in our country?
I think so. Look, I lived through the 50s and the 60s, and I can tell you, I've seen those eyes that I saw on TV last night and this morning. And we cannot poo-poo that. We've got to really be very, very concerned about how we say things and the things that we do say and how that may impact people.
We may never know what motivated him to commit these heinous crimes, but what we do know is that the climate of debate has degraded so significantly, I believe, over the last decade that it has to end. And whether this is the wake-up call or this is just the reason we're debating this issue now, it's important that we have this debate.
Well, so there's a wound inflicted upon the nation right now that I think needs to heal. And I think what would be a real tribute to Gabby would be to look at the public discourse and how can we make it more civil.
Let me read you something that was in a video released by Sarah Palin this morning. She said, quote, "Acts of monstrous criminality stand on their own.
They begin and end with the criminals who commit them, not collectively with all the citizens of a state, not with those who listen to talk radio, not with maps of swing districts used by both sides of the aisle."
What is your reaction to some of the things that were included in this video posted by Sarah Palin?
I saw the video of what Ms. Palin said, and the part that you didn't read was where she suggested that the advocacy that we are all making on behalf of more civil discourse is like we're trying to extract a blood libel.
Journalists and pundits should not manufacture a blood libel that serves only to incite the very hatred and violence that they purport to condemn.
Let's remember that Gabby herself talked about just a few weeks ago the fact that individuals who shall remain nameless used violent images and words in her campaign, and she talked about how important it was that we dial it back.
Do you think that's what she was doing, defending violent rhetoric?
I think she has used violent imagery and violent language, and I think it appears to me that she's being somewhat defensive, yes.
I think it's the wrong message to take from this. And I think what you're seeing here on a bipartisan basis from leaders all across the Congress is that we will change the nature of the debate ourselves.
At the same time, was it appropriate in the immediate aftermath of this event by some people to blame right-wing rhetoric?
We cannot politicize this event. And my concern is that right off the bat that the arrows are starting to fly, and you see it on both sides of the aisle. And that, I think, is a great disappointment, and that's what we have to change up here.
No one's blaming right-wing rhetoric, but that we all agree that the language and the tone and the tenor of our debate has gotten too intense, and that we need to lead by example.
Congressman Clyburn, after this incident, you said quote, "It seems like this gentleman was not satisfied with the way the election turned out." And you blame candidates like Sharon Engel for using incendiary language like finding Second Amendment remedies during her campaign. Do you think you spoke too soon?
No, I don't. Gabby predicted something like this. She, in her own words, said to us a few months ago, in pointing out some of the symbolism, and words are symbols. And I think that we are responsible for what we say and the way we say it.
I think there's been a general coarsening of society in political realm or outside the political realm. You look at the stuff that kids are watching on TV, the games that they're playing on the internet, all those different things. And that's a concern that I have had.
After my daughter heard that, Gabby had been shot, the first thing she asked me was, Mommy, are you going to get shot? Does that mean you're going to get shot? And then I, did my best to reassure her, tell her, no, Mommy takes precautions. You've been to my meetings. We have, we take steps to make sure that we're all safe. But then the next thing she said to me was, and this is where you don't realize how closely they're watching, but Mommy, Florida's going to pass an immigration law like Arizona, and then people are going to be mad at you. They're paying attention. The civil discourse is very important because it's not just adults that this permeates. It's our children.
What do you think Congresswoman Giffords would think of the debate that has unfolded in this country in the aftermath of these shootings? Oh,
I'm positive that she will want a debate to move forward.
I'm hoping that from this awful, horrific event, that the bright light that we will see is new leadership, a new level of discourse, and people actually coming together to do good things for America.